Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Joseph Clough, and this is episode 525, all about stopping perfectionism. I was almost procrastinating over that. So this is all about stopping perfectionism. And we got to really think about what perfectionism is. And it's really the refusal to accept any standard short of perfection. So whether that be comparing yourself to others, seeking approval, or having to just do the same thing over and over again until you feel like it's perfect. And of course, it gives us feelings of inadequacy or insecurity. We tend to focus on the end goal so much so that we forget to actually do the process to get that. So in other words, we're so focused on that external goal that we want to get across or to complete that due to the procrastination, due to our experience of insecurity and the inner critic, it just holds us up. We never really complete the project, or not to our standards anyway. And of course, because of that, we waste time. We experience worry. We experience fear. And this can be in any area of our life. Like if you want to get better in your business, if you want to grow more in your business, if you want to get better in your career, if you want to progress, if you've got assignments to do or client projects, where it be in relationships. It could even be in your health. In fact, I remember quite a few times, but specifically when I first got into hypnosis, I had some fears and doubts still. I mean, it's a whole new to me, and I was starting to become self-employed at 18 years old, and I'm working with people's minds. And as an 18-year-old, I had insecurities of what people would think of me. So to try to stop that, I wore like a tie and always was trying to be as professional as possible because although I was 18, I probably looked about 16. But I felt like I had to get everything perfect. I just had to know everything inside out. I had to make sure that it was down to the smallest piece before I could start working with people. Or if I didn't, I used to worry about it all the time. And then that anxiety would kind of build up to the session. Now, thankfully for me, when I got into the sessions, everything went well, but there was all that time wasted. I mean, even if we think about it as, say, an athlete, right? So you got two athletes. They're going in the same race, say a 100-meter race. Now, if that one athlete is thinking all the time that they have to be perfect, they got to eat perfect, they got to do all this, and they're putting all this pressure on themselves, it's building up on the inside that they're actually getting anxious. They're coming from anxiety rather than anticipation. Because there's much to be learned in the process, which people tend to forget about. If you were to be, a surgeon, when they're learning, when they're getting educated, they don't know everything to be a surgeon. They know enough, but where do they really learn getting it really down? It's through the experience, not the outcome, but the experience. So many people actually feel like I've got to learn everything before I can start working with clients. I need to know everything about business before I start my business. Or it's just got to be perfect. Otherwise, people will think X, Y, Z. And that creates a big issue. Like I said, why we need to know about it is because it's time loss. It's a dream killer. Think about that. The amount of time that we're wasting with that procrastination because we're trying to be perfect, we're killing our dreams through the time being lost. We're creating self-sabotage. We're creating anxiety. We're creating that level of insecurity. And that builds up, and guess what? The more that it builds, the less perfect we can be anyway. Now, there's a weird little mindset that I find very valuable. And I speak about it with my people in my private group. And that is that either everything is perfect or nothing is perfect. You choose whichever one it is. Because if everything is perfect, that means everything you're doing is perfect. Even if it's perfectly wrong, perfectly not doing okay, perfectly shaky at times, or nothing is perfect, and therefore we shouldn't have to worry about being perfect. You get to choose that. Just as a little mindset. Either everything is perfect, therefore you are perfect, and the progression is perfect, or nothing is perfect, and therefore we can move into our life, into our goals and dreams to feel better, to get more, to receive more, to be able to let go of that dream killer. So that is why we really need to be able to let it go, right? Because we don't want the anxiety, we don't want the fear, we don't want the worries and the doubts and the build up of things. But let's talk about how it came across. So why did it come into existence when it comes to our perfectionism? And you know I'm not perfect all the time. I trip over my words. And I think we can actually gain insight into that it's actually okay to make mistakes. Because in the mistake is the learning, but also it means that you're human. You might hear buts and uhs and here and there and all those type of things. But it's ultimately human. There's a human experience. So we've got to embrace the imperfections and realize that's where the refinement comes from. We don't refine from being perfect. We refine from learning from our experience. Now, I was about to say about where did this come from? And it can come from many different ways. So the thought of perfectionism could have came from our parents. Maybe they said something to us that, look, you got to get this right, otherwise X, Y, Z. Or you've got to follow in the footsteps of your father, great-grandfather, and all these things because that's what they always did. Maybe it's through the values that you were instilled that it's got to be good. And if anything less, it means you're not cutting it. So therefore, we get this perfectionism that it's got to be perfect. Otherwise, I won't do it, and therefore you shy away from your dreams. You shy away from your promotions, you shy away from new business, you shy away from relationships because if it can't be perfect, what's the point? Or you just struggle with it. You just struggle and struggle and struggle. But there's also other levels. It could be from society's expectations. So whether it be our parents or people, whether it be society, maybe it could even be your own self-conclusion. You go through an event, didn't work out very well, and then you decide and conclude, not necessarily at a conscious level, although you may have articulated it to a degree, but unconsciously, you start to formulate a belief about yourself. That it's got to be perfect. I'm never enough. Now, many people say, well, Joseph, what is my root cause of this perfectionism? Because it's important to be able to get that right, because otherwise we're working on symptoms. Now, I can't tell you what your root cause is. I could try to lead you there. I mean, I have a program which does solve it, but I just generally right here and right now, I can't solve that for you, but you have to go on the inside and think, well, where did these thoughts come from? Where did these beliefs come from in order to be perfect? What conclusions did we come up with that then became cemented as our identity? Because our identity will dictate our output. It will dictate how we show up. And we could be ultimately so-called failing because we're not being perfect. Have you ever had any of those thoughts? So it's got to be perfect. I've got to know everything. But think about this. You don't know everything or have to know everything to do certain things. I don't know how electricity works, but I use it all the time. So we don't have to know everything to be perfect. And sometimes when it comes to this, it's almost as if we're thinking so much about what other people will think of us, so therefore we need to be perfect. Well, what if my boss thinks this of me? What if I fail in their eyes, in my parents' eyes? Will it mean that I'm enough? Those are the questions we got to ask ourselves in terms of what perfectionism is and how to diagnose it almost. But more importantly, we need to know how to let it go. So how to stop perfectionism? Now, of course, as I said, it's really, really crucial in my world, in my belief system, to be able to solve the root cause of it. That's what we gotta do, not work on symptoms. But as I said, I can't do that for you right here we're being broadcast over Facebook and also YouTube. I can't get your one. That's something for you to find out or for you to seek help with that, because I'll be honest with you as well, there are many coaches out there, many hypnotherapists out there, or any practitioner. There are many who focus on symptoms like anxiety and worries. They focus on the things which show up in their world, but the things which show up aren't the issue. We got to find the root cause, which is creating what shows up. But if I could impart some kind of knowledge and advice of how I would go about implementing change, is first of all, we got to get into our mindset that other people's opinions or expectations of us are none of our business. Repeat that over and over again. Other people's or society, their expectations of me are none of my business. That's their stuff. Other people's opinions are none of my business, nor are their expectations. It doesn't mean we should ignore them, because they could be good things sometimes. But if it is debilitating us at that thought, we got to get that in our mind that it is none of our business and we need to focus on other things. Now, the second part of this three-part aspect, so the first one being is none of our business, what society thinks of us, or what people think of us. As long as we're focusing on the inside, that's the main thing. As long as we're going to get or learn and grow and develop and evolve, that's what we're really after. But the second part is that most people who have this perfectionism kind of attitude, they think about it like, oh, I suck at this, I won't do it, or I'm so bad at it, I just got to do it over and over again. So we have that like, I suck at this, or I'm so bad at that. And therefore it stops you. And on the same notion, we go, well, I've got to get it 100%, but I suck at it. What if we changed our attention away from the 100% perfection and started a new thought in our mind? And it's going to be a weird thought at first. But what if I just get less bad at something? What if I suck less at something? What if I just focus on just the things like anxiety, worries, and doubts, or the perfectionism? If I just focus on doing less of it, like I'm going to focus today of sucking less at presentations. What can I do to do that? And it's a weird mindset to have, but the reason why I bring that to your attention is because now we're not bringing our attention to the 100% perfectionism. We're focused on just doing something bad less. The things that we suck at, sucking at them less. So it's a weird one, but it does take your mindset, your perception, away from the perfection and into doing something which we dislike that little bit less. It takes the pressure off us. We kind of think, okay, well, I could do that. I know I can't be perfect, because that's why I've got this issue. And if I can't find the root cause right now and I need extra help with that, what I can do is suck less at something or be less bad. And it's a weird set of linguistics, right? So it's a weird setup of words. But if that was your mantra, if that was your mindset of just being less bad at something, you're taking your mindset out of the 100%. Now, the third aspect is this, and let's just say that doesn't resonate with you. Well, we do the same kind of process, but we focus on being 5% better. Just 5% better. Now, once again, we're taking our mind out of the 100% perfection into, well, if I can just improve by 5% every day or even every week, in a short period of time, you're going to get to where you want to be. And because it's taking you out of the perfectionism kind of mindset and belief system, it's going to cause you to get traction, a little bit of momentum there. So ultimately, look, we got to realize that the expectations we put on ourselves that are to be perfect, that it's got to be 100% correct, we got to realize it came from someone. Or we chose to decide to have that belief system about ourselves to be perfect based on a past experience. Maybe it was something that we were told. Maybe it was society. Maybe it was just a specific event of failure. But then we got to know that, look, other people's expectations are not my business. As long as I focus upon myself and getting better or sucking less, it will cause me to transform. It takes the pressure off us. And also, as I said as well, either everything is perfect or nothing is perfect. You choose. If everything is perfect, you're doing perfectly well in just learning and growing. If nothing is perfect, then we don't need perfectionism. And then finally, the last two parts, which were to suck less or just focus on being a little bit better every single day. Because that will give you the traction, either one of those. It will give you the traction and more self-belief. And most of the time, it does come from our own self-belief systems. That I am, and then fill in the blank. I am not this. I am not worthy. I am not capable. I am not deserving. I can't do this 100%. Those kind of belief systems are going to create something like perfectionism. But obviously your one's going to be very, very unique. So I don't want to put them in your mind. You got to figure that out or get someone to help you with that. But I do think those 3 points are going to assist you in making some changes. So Amy says here, and once again, for the replay of this on the podcast and the app and so on, this is being broadcasted live and on YouTube. And we have here from Amy, "There's great. Though I don't think I'm a perfectionist at all. How about something on self-esteem and how to be a better me? Love hearing you. Your words are encouraging and I appreciate you and your hypnosis sessions. Thank you. Gotta go. I'm at work. You're the best, Joseph." Well, thank you ever so much, Amy. I really appreciate that. So when I'm doing these live videos and podcasts, I'm definitely be going into like esteem and confidence and stuff. And we've got obviously the hypnosis app, which is freehypnosis.app, which has all the hundreds of hypnosis or over 100 hypnosis sessions, also 500 in total when it comes to the coaching side as well. We've got some big developments there. But when we think about esteem, it's the same thing when it comes to applying what I said, especially the latter two, sucking less at something. Let that be your idea, because then you're going to get more confidence, or focusing on the 5% better, because that's going to focus on your belief system. That's going to cause you to grow and get more traction there. So it's still applicable when it comes to making that change. And of course, the future videos, of course, I'll be doing ones on esteem. And I think we've got some, I'm going to guarantee we have well over 100 or so of just pure self-belief and confidence kind of videos. But definitely for the videos in the future, I will be doing more like that. Now, of course, if you are someone who feels like there's an inner critic there, the perfectionism, and like I said, if you want more on a one-to-one help with myself and the team, all you've got to go to is josephclough.info/power, watch our masterclass, and then we can see if we can help you. Ultimately, we can only work with a certain amount of people, a certain kind of person, and that's really important to be able to check out that masterclass or webinar or whatever you want to call it. It's a video, right? It's just me talking, giving you insights and seeing if we can serve and help you. And that's josephclough.info/power to quit the imposter syndrome, the inner critic, and the perfectionism. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and leave that with you. As I said, this is episode 525, and in the future, we've got many more to come, and I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon. Many thanks, and goodbye.